Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Book of the Month. I'm Matt, and I'm here along with
I'm Tristan.
Tristan. You could have been, what's his name? Trey? Is that what it? Thane?
Thane.
Could have
Yeah.
been Thane Kai, the Thane Kyrell Ren.
I.
Could have been. By the way, so I am Matt, this is Tristan. We are talking about, you can put the book up now. We can never see each other. Star Wars. Lost Stars. Now, of course, as you can tell, we are talking about the manga version. I was unaware that there was an original story, like an original novelization, although technically it's the original version, so this is the manga-tization. I don't know if that's a word. But either way, there was an original novel. Tristan, you know a bit more about it, not because you've read it, but because you're a Star Wars fan. You just know that it exists.
Yeah. It's funny. Anthony Toto actually has the book.
Oh, wow. Huh. That's interesting. So, yeah, because like I know he's a big Star Wars fan too, but I know that he's more into Trek.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that he would actually have it. That's interesting. Does he have 2 copies? Can we borrow one of them? You don't have a copy, do you?
No, not yet, but I do want to pick it up because I'm really interested in some of the stuff that Claudia Gray, she's the writer for the original story.
Yes. So we should know Claudia Gray, writer of the original story, and then Yusaku Komiyama she did the art and the adaptation. So basically, this is not an American manga. Obviously, Star Wars is American, but the manga itself is the book, of course. By the way, Lost Stars, the original book, is American, but the manga is not. So it was actually released on the Line app in Japan. So it was all digital, and then it gets brought over here. Yen Press licenses it of all companies, which I find interesting only due to the fact that you would think, nothing against Yen Press because they are rather large, but you would think with Disney and Lucasfilm, which are actually on the back, so they do have something to do with this. It's not like a weird fan thing. It's like, no, they have full control of this, at least to a certain extent.
Yeah.
They worked with Yen Press. I'm just saying that you would think Viz, because I think of them as like this huge juggernaut, compared to and there are a lot of other companies out there, but I think of Viz as like this huge juggernaut. So it's really cool to see Yen Press get the license to this, and the paper quality. I just got to say, sorry, I want to give it to you, Tristan. Want to also talk about the story, but the paper quality is really good. It's really large, and it's so nice to see a manga not just kind of end at like 192 pages. Like it goes as far as they believe it needs to, in my opinion. And I think it really was a great place to end it off, rather than just going with whatever they could print, if you will.
Right.
So, like, we've been talking about Dragon Ball Super. We're not going to spoil that for anyone who doesn't know anything about A, Dragon Ball, or B, Super, but we've done Book of the Months on the Super volumes, the manga volumes that have been out, and usually we notice that, like, you could argue it's like a teaser for the next one, but it just seems like it's just cut off after the story arc. It's not really a good teaser. It's just extra, like another extra issue tacked on, or an extra chapter tacked on. In this case, it felt like and by the way, spoilers if you didn't know, it felt like this end was very, very gripping, and a great way to make me, and of course you as well, Tristan, want to read the next volume. So but anyway, you were going to say something, Tristan. Please continue. You got to write these points down, man. You got. We have to info dump a little bit about this, but like, you had we're gonna say you liked it, that it was good, that it's bad. I don't know.
I don't know either, Matt.
I love the art. I love the cover so much.
Yes. Yeah, the different shots from the actual panels of the manga itself as the cover, I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping for like the next volume they have a shot with Sienna Ree, like kind of mirror image each other.
Yes.
The stains on the front of this one.
Yes. So yeah, I mentioned earlier, I'm happy that we have a physical version of this. Maybe there was a Japanese physical one, and I can't, but I could swear that because it was put online, it's like literally on the Line app,
right?
LINE app. It is exclusive to that in Japan. We don't get that here, although I'm sure it's available digitally somewhere, to like Google Books or something Amazon related, something like that. I'm sure it's available. when this came out. So the book came out in 2015. The manga came out in 2017. And then this version, the US version in English, came out in 2018. So we're not that far behind, Tristan.
Yeah.
We're compared to usual, we're actually not that far behind. You got me into this. So why did this grip you immediately? And because you drew me into it so quickly, and I was there. Like I was like, oh, I kind of want to take a look at this. And then I shocked the world. I shocked Tristan Walter by saying I bought it. So we got to do it soon.
Paint me surprised Pikachu face.
So why did this manga pull you in? What about it really got you?
I mean, it's definitely because there was another YouTuber that I follow who does Star Wars content, and they were mentioning this and talking about it, and just the perspective that it took. And I'd heard the plot about the book from Anthony and from other people, again, other YouTube creators. But there's just the image at the end of this volume. And not to jump all the way to the end, right at the beginning. But
it's fine.
literally, they show the Death Star firing on Alderaan, but it's not...
Which I have to say, complete shock to me. I was like, oh, that's so... The Death Star is what they call it? And Alderaan? That's the... Yes.
Matt.
Could you... No, but seriously though, no, I will admit though, right? All jokes aside, you don't exactly know where this. Like, if you go into this blind, other than watching the movies, you are kind of like me, usually wondering like, oh, when does this take place? Because again, if you're just, I mean, you know that obviously there's the rebellion, so you're like, okay, duh, but you don't know, especially with the flashback, where that takes place necessarily until you start seeing things fall into place. Like you see Leia still being, this princess at the ball, and then you also start hearing about the plans. I mean, you literally see, once you see C-3PO and R2, you're like, I have a firm sense of where we are right now.
Yeah.
If the beginning with Thane being part of the resistance didn't, help.
The rebellion.
Yeah, the rebellion. I mean, is that not the same thing?
No, it's not.
Really?
Stop.
Oh my god. I know that, okay, now I really have to ask Tristan.
Because that's the thing, you're talking about where you are in time, but if you start calling the Rebellion a Resistance, you're going to confuse it with the new sequel trilogy. That's the only reason I'm nitpicking you right now.
Oh, right, there's that show that recently, the animated one that recently, oh, here's something I think Tristan would like.
Okay.
Wait, what?
I was going to say, there's also those 2 films that came out. I don't know if you've seen them or not.
I forgot if they... No, I thought they still called them...
No.
The... Really?
Nope. They are called The Resistance.
Okay. You want to know why I completely missed that? Because the people that I love died, Tristan.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. For me, I'm just like... They're dead. And Tristan's like, they're called The Resistance, by the way. Screw you. They're dead, Tristan.
Do you
dead.
think I wasn't crying?
They're dead. No, he cried a lot. You know how he cried? How I know he cried? I wasn't even there in the theater with him, but I could just feel
you felt the
this
disturbance
voice
in the Force
screaming out in terror.
Speaking of screaming out in terror, it's the visuals in this series, and it's characters reacting to the big events that happen in this universe that we know like full well of, because that whole bit where they're like, they're stationed on the Death Star, he's like, everybody come to the main docking hall, it's like, I wonder what's going on, it must be, they must be showing off the new station, whatever, and just the doors open and it's like, oh hey, my friends from Alderaan, that's cool, like I wonder what we're here for. And then but you see it from a perspective, like, you see Alderaan being destroyed from the perspective of the planet itself. Mm-hmm. And it's just that one shot in the back, and just everything being completely wiped away. And, it's this image, just Thane, just looking out in absolute horror. There's no text, nothing, just 2 full pages of that beautiful image. And I love it. That's what got me.
What got me, even before that, because I remember that was... Well, not only do I remember that's coming because I've seen the movies.
Yeah.
I know that it's coming because you showed me that bit, because I said I didn't care about being spoiled, which, to be fair, I didn't, because, again, this is surrounding stuff that is not really advancing the stories of people that we know.
Right, this is a side story, and it's about the new content in here is about the 2 other characters and their interactions, not the universe as a whole.
Exactly. But what I want to mention, though, is what got me is when Sienna was talking to Thane's roommate and told him, like, oh, so yeah, you're probably going to get to enjoy, the thing with Alderaan. And I was like, oh no, he's from Alderaan.
Yeah.
Because it was, no, I'm sorry. She was talking to him. This was not about enjoying. This was about...
Yeah, she was talking to Nash,
but specifically about Leia's betrayal, quote unquote.
Right, because he was a Leia fanboy, apparently.
Well, because that's his princess.
Fair, yeah, that's true. Right.
Yeah,
Duh.
That's the thing. That is his princess because he is from Alderaan. Right. So when I heard that, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh boy, we get to see a display. It's like going to the movies. Right. And then the extras are all killed, and I was like, oh god.
Oh god.
Yeah. So,
and I love the fact that they bring in that perspective too, because that's a huge thing. That was actually a huge split about people in the Empire.
Yeah.
Because it was still coming to power, and the whole idea is like the Empire is technically unifying the galaxy under one banner. So, like the planet that Sienna and... Oh god, why? Why do I blank on that? Yeah, Thane. Wow, we've been saying it the whole time. My brain just...
Okay, I thought you were going to talk about her friend was like Julie or something.
No, Jude.
Jude.
Yeah, I remembered that one. I don't know. But just the fact that they're from a planet in the Outer Rim, Jalukan, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if that's a new planet for this story or whether that's been introduced somewhere else. I think it's new for this story.
Right.
But just the fact that, they had this whole class struggle, growing up, but then the idea was once the Empire came in, it was, no, you are all citizens of the Empire now, you're all equals. So to them, incoming, it's a better chance because they can grow up and become cadets and go on to live in a better life kind of idea. So, the incoming Empire to them is a good thing. And nobody really knows the absolute horrors that the Empire commits until you're there to witness it yourself. And at that point, it's already too late because you're a part of it. And
there's 2 things
try
I want
to
to
leave,
mention.
well, we know how that ends.
Yeah, there's 2 things I want to mention. One nice, fun thing before we transition into something terrible that piggybacks kind of off of what you were just saying, Tristan. So the fun thing is, and I'm not saying this is something Claudia Gray did, but just in general, anyone working on stuff in canon or at least in the Star Wars universe, I love how they all have to channel their inner George Lucas because they have to be like, all right, so he created the Death Star, I'll create the Executor. And like other ships that are like similar in name, like, oh, this is the I don't know, the blowy uppy machine.
Oh, you mean
like they have to
the Star Destroyer, the Devastator?
Well, no, because there is the Battleship of the Galactic Empire, Super Star Destroyer, Executor.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Executor. That's from canon. I mean, that's from the films, and so is
it was from the films. I forgot about that.
Star Destroyer before the Executor is the Devastator as well.
So the Devastator, was that in the movies or no?
I don't know if it was specifically named in the movies, but it is part of canon that was Vader's flagship before he moves on to the Super Star Destroyer in Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that, again, not I'm saying that, Gray did this, but someone had to name that.
Oh, yeah.
And just find their inner Lucas. Unless Lucas came up with it himself, in which case, yeah. But it just, I don't know, just something about, like, we made the Death Star, so the Killer,
it's
the
funny.
Destructionator, the Baconator. Like, you just have to keep on...
There are people who talk about the names of Star Destroyers and why they're all, horrifying, terrible names. because I forget if this was like read somewhere, it was just a fan theory or something like that, but it was people talking about how Palpatine would kind of just corrupt people that was one of the many ways he'd corrupt the officers who then had to justify their actions while in command of those ships with those terrible names. It's like, well, it's all in the name of the Empire, just doing the job. Which some people relish in that, and others were like, I'm doing my job. Please don't look at me.
Well, again, I want to piggyback off of something you said before, talking about the slow turn of people's minds, seeing what's really going on, and seeing the Empire's true intentions.
Yeah.
I think if anyone who reads this, if they didn't know that the Empire was based off of Nazis before,
yeah,
I kind of think this kind of like solidifies that. Yeah. Like, if you know anything about history, or have read up on it, or potentially taken a class on it, maybe you're still in school about it, like, you see what, Hitler's version of Germany, what he was trying to sell to people.
Yeah.
And at first, to some people, it sounded good.
Right.
It sounded like it was like, oh, thank goodness we can... we can change, we can move on from this, we can move up in the world. Now, I will admit, unlike this novel, this graphic novel, there was still, demonization of people in the real world aspect, so, like, that it isn't one-to-one, obviously.
Yeah,
but
right.
Just looking at the fact that, again, this is being built up as a good thing, as a change for the people. Oh, we just have to come under one banner, everything's going to be fine, etc., etc., we're all going to be good, everything's going to be great.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden... The thing happens,
right?
If you will,
or
at least people learn of the thing.
Tarkin's
people
line
learn of it
specifically was, "You'll take your rightful place among the Empire." I love that they bring Grand Moff Tarkin in to give the annexation speech. Like when I saw big characters like that in this, I was like, oh, holy shit, okay.
Can I pause for a second? So you call him Grand Moff Tarkin. Obviously, they do in the book as well. That's his official title.
Yep.
Do you know how many times I've thought... I don't know if it was you, Tristan. I thought someone was patronizing him and calling him Grandma Tarkin. Because when the mouth says Grand Moff Tarkin really quick, I seriously thought people were like, oh, it's just Grandma Tarkin. And I don't know if that's like a fan name, and maybe I read it that way. Someone was like actually mocking him. But, like, I'm just confused because when I saw Grand Moff and then you said it like something just awakened within me. I was like,
no, I get you.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, here's the panel I was talking about.
Okay. No, I know. But, like, people have clearly, like, have you ever heard it that way, too? Or is it just me?
No.
Grandma Tarkin instead of Grand Moff?
Yeah. No, I've heard it really fast and, like, wait, what? And I look up, oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny. I love because it's so interesting because you, Tristan, because you know a lot about Star Wars over me, you look at Tarkin and you're like, wow, this is such a big character. Yeah. And me, because I'm a child, I'm like, Issa DeVader, look at him. Not like enjoying it, but like, oh, that's a big character. And you're like, Tarkin, man!
Yeah.
Because with all of this, some of you who know about this are looking at me like I'm crazy, but some of you who might not, Tarkin, from what you've told me, Tristan, is huge in a lot of novels that, I don't know if they're technically canon anymore, because of Disney, but that, like, he was a bigger force, I would argue, than he was when you just see him in Episode 4.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And, of course, you get more on him in Rogue One,
right.
But even before Rogue One, he was a bigger force to be reckoned with. And it's just interesting that, the, what's it called now? The Legends canon? Is that what it's referred to?
Yeah, Legends.
Yeah, it used to be EU. Now it's, EU? Right, Extended Universe?
Yeah, Expanded Universe. Technically, there's
expanded.
Still an Expanded Universe now. It's just Disney's.
Yeah, and it's interesting, because, again, this is technically... So, officially, this is part of that canon, right? Because so far, it has done nothing to...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is considered canon. The novel itself.
And
looking at this would be too, because it's an adaptation.
Yeah. I only bring it up because just reading this, nothing stood out. Like, we've seen, we literally saw, one scene of Han and Chewie.
Yeah, that was also another thing that I really like about this manga itself. I love the art style, and there are a lot of times, like, even in some of the new Marvel comics for Star Wars, like, I wasn't crazy about the art style because it looked, I don't know, it felt a little too cartoony for my taste, which that's just my personal opinion. Nothing against the artist or anything like that, but it just wasn't my thing.
Boo, we must burn him at the stake.
Oh, well,
Boo.
hey, do what you gotta do.
Boo.
But then, I don't know, something about how they were shown here, like Han and Chewie, like, I looked at them, I'm like, yeah, that's still Han Solo, or that's still Leia, or even Vader. Vader is drawn so damn well when you see him.
Vader is the best if we're talking about accuracy to the movies, but I think that I love how expressive Han, Chewie, and Leia are.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I don't think Han Solo, I look at him and I'm like, that's Harrison Ford. I don't,
No,
but
yeah.
he is Han Solo. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yes, like you could tell, like if he's walking around, and I see Chewie next to him, I'm not like, oh really, is that Han? I'm like, yeah.
Like, and I
you
love
can
how they're
something.
just like screaming at
Yes.
each other, and just like Chewie's facial expression, like they're both just growling at each other, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. One thing that I didn't like, and this isn't the author's problem, nor is it the the person who adapted its problem. It's really just something that happens with modern manga. None of the sound effects are translated. And that immediately takes me out.
Oh yeah.
Well, no,
right.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm wrong.
No, wait, no,
they are translated. No, they are translated, but they aren't erased with the new art. Some people like that. I understand why, but for me, it just feels distracting because there's just huge chunks of just Japanese text next to it, and then I have to read underneath it wobble, bump. And it just to me feels as if it's more of a it's easier, even though again some people say, hey, but it feels like it's preserving the original art, which I get. I don't want people's faces to be erased or anything like that, but looking at most of this, I just feel as if with any manga, when they're large enough, they're easy enough to be erased. So why put grab over it? And if people want the art not to be ruined, well, grab is right above it on actual artwork.
Right.
So instead of erasing, or any other sound effect, so instead of erasing the original Japanese sound effect, it would be nice to put the new one on, because to me it's just one of those things where it's like I don't know, it's meant to be in English.
Yeah. No,
and
I get
it would be weird. What?
No, I get the preference.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, it doesn't take away from it. It doesn't take me out of it. But yeah, no, I get it if that's not something you would enjoy too.
I think because it's so large, so it just covered, because it's obviously these huge sound effects are meant to obviously draw. If you're a Japanese reader looking at it, you're like, oh damn, like when an AT-AT steps down, you're like, wow.
I love that when they just show scanning the horizon, and just they really did a great job of getting terror on people's faces when the Empire shows up, because it actually is a big deal.
Yes, no. It definitely is. My thing is, so when it steps down, and you see it's supposed to be stomp, right?
Yeah.
So you see this huge thing, and it's like in Japanese, I don't know what it's supposed to say in Japanese, but let's just say it. Let me just scream stomp, and then you see up above stomp.
Right.
So that's just how it looks to me. I don't know. I just feel especially because even in that case, it definitely doesn't go on top of any of the ATs. it's behind them.
Right.
So then why can't stomp just be over the white behind them? That's all I'm getting at here.
Yeah.
I just feel as if, the reason why I say it takes me out, I think, is because it's like someone's attack name for a manga or an anime.
Right.
Unless it's something that's we've already, for some reason, we're clearly accustomed to, because that's just what they've always done, like Kamehameha.
Right.
It's just, it would be weird if, they put, let's say Kamehameha, right? Kamehameha, parentheses, turtle wave.
Right.
It's just choose one or the other.
Yeah.
But what I do like, though, is no, at the end of the book, there are no, translator's notes, hey, did you know that this means this? It's just tell me that in the middle of the thing. That
the pew-pews
unless
are
it was
my favorite.
What was that?
I said the pew-pews are my favorite.
Yeah. Oh, I would also like to mention as well, so because this is a manga, this is something else that I love as well. So it's a manga, as we've mentioned. We said it's not American, and we should also clarify, because that's the case, it's actually read from right to left.
Yeah.
instead of left to right. So this is like a true manga through and through. There's no like maize turning into yams or anything like that. This is, you remember that used to happen. We always talk about this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone doesn't know, I don't know if it was something in Dragon Ball Z. I don't remember what manga it was. If you guys know, tell us down below. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, those guys on the radio. There was one book that, because back in the day, they used to flip pretty much all of the artwork when they printed manga chapters as comic book issues. But so they didn't like get someone to redraw it or anything. In certain cases they did. I think in Akira and Domu they may have. Same author. But in the case of like Dragon Ball Z, Inuyasha, some of the other ones, they just flipped them. So if someone had a shirt on that said May, it became Yam.
Right.
So anyone with any text on their shirt, sometimes if text was somehow relevant to the story or their character,
Right.
it would just be flipped, because that's all it was. It was just mirrored, so it could easily be put out and printed for any Americans who wanted to read it, because they thought, well, we have to sell this thing.
Right.
It's too foreign. We have to sell it as if it's a comic book.
Yeah,
I actually have an Inuyasha
didn't that
issue
happen
that way.
to Gaz and Mez too? Could have sworn they had their names on their shirts. Although that might have been filler, actually.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
no,
that's
dude,
not
that's
in the
anime
manga,
filler.
right.
What was on their shirts was Hell.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that became HFIL,
yeah.
which is what they called it, the Home for Infinite Losers,
Yeah.
which is actually such a good TV localization when you can't use the word hell
Yeah.
because the show would get,
I mean, that
like,
was,
it just wouldn't be on the
that was fucking
Yeah.
creative, let's be honest. Come on.
Yeah. No, like, that's the thing, like, that's creative. What's not creative, although it is creative, but I just don't like it, is turning a gun into a frickin', into a slingshot. It's creative, technically, but I don't like it.
Or hammer on a spring.
Yeah. Oh, one thing that I found interesting is how I think Thane, like, grew up. Like, you could tell in his face that he grew up.
Yeah.
His brother did not. His brother's just taller. Like, I feel like the artist does not like his brother. His brother was just taller.
To be fair, I don't think anybody liked Thane's brother.
Yes. Maybe.
I don't even think Thane's brother liked Thane's brother.
Oh, I was going to say maybe his mom, but I think that's stretching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of look at that family. I'm like, you didn't want children, did you?
Yeah. Okay. So Tarkin, oh no. 'Cause
Speaking of children, Tarkin.
Well, no. I want to mention that I think this manga is pure Empire propaganda.
I mean,
Up until like the last.
it's the point of view
5
it's supposed to
pages.
give you. Yeah.
No, but other than the last 5 pages, it felt like pure Empire propaganda. Like, hey, do you want to join? We need you.
Yeah.
Like, it just felt like that.
Oh, yeah.
Until the last 5 pages, and I was like, oh no.
It's just instead. Yeah. It's it's Tarkin pointing at you, saying, "We need you for the Empire."
to impressionable children who are like, yeah, we want to fly ships, and he's
Exactly.
like,
You want to fly a ship? I'll show you a ship. That's what like creeped me out the most. It's that
Yes.
the picture of Tarkin is just painted. He's like this heroic figure to them, and he's actually
it's
like,
a horror
really,
movie to you.
He's a horrible person, an absolute terror, and like these kids look up to him, and he's like, wow, you both showed bravery and intelligence. Like, yeah, you'd be great. Let me show you around the ship.
Last month, we had Halloween in July. I want to note to everyone, if you tuned in for that, we had Halloween in July. And last month, we talked about the novelization, or the original novel, for the movie The Ring, or Ringu as it was known when it was brought over here before it got adapted in English. We talked about that. And Tarkin showing kids around a spaceship is a horror movie for Tristan.
I mean, it's just the idea that we know that he's such a snake in a grass, and that he would just as soon as, dispose of these two kids. If,
if they went for the blasters, he'd shoot them both in the head.
Yeah, like, that's why I love the scene where, like, Thane finally stands up to the other kids who are like, oh, she's a filthy, first wave, their clothes are dirty and blah, blah, blah. Second waves are better. And Thane, I love his burn, by the way. Like, that was a sick burn. And it's just, so the sick burn was, it's like, you said she was dirty, right? And it's like, of course, look at her beaten up clothes. And, like, she's looking at her clothes, like, you know. And he's like, huh, it only looks that way to you because your eyes are dirty. I'm like, oh, shit!
Yeah, that's not a sick burn. But I will give you that I'm happy what I think was the sickest part of it is when he told Tarkin, I didn't think I was going to lose.
Well, that too.
That, to me, is my favorite thing, because it's just such a cool thing, I think, to say. Where it's just like, you were fighting 5 people. Well, I mean, like, I didn't think I was going to lose.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I mean,
that's funny.
They were holding their own pretty well.
Yeah.
Which is what I love. Like, the two of them doing a tag team against the group of little shits was great.
Mm-hmm.
But just when Tarkin walks up and glares at them, and all of them run away.
Other than these two, I loved it.
The other
they're
two
like,
just stand there, and they're like, no, you know, it was our fault, we shouldn't be here. You know, and he's like, wow, you didn't run. There's something special about you two.
Yeah.
I might indulge you a little bit. Which he does.
I mean, it's just propaganda. Like, even if they never joined the Empire, try to get into the ranks, they love Tarkin.
Yeah.
And that's all that they need.
Right.
Again, this is in the building stage when they have to be like, let's gain the public support.
Right, exactly. Which the Empire did do a bit of first before, you know, the Death Star.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I think that, I don't want to say makes more sense, but you start to see where it's coming from at that point. It's just that if you watch episode 4, 5, and 6 alone, I love the trilogy, but you do kind of wonder, like, man, like, nobody just shoots Vader in the face.
Right.
Or, like, or ever had the idea. And it's like, well, they didn't because they weren't even fearful yet until, allegedly, from the looks of it, they didn't seem to be super fearful. Yes, there were some rebels, so clearly something went down that I don't know about before episode 4, after episode 3, before Rogue One. Like, something went down because you heard the rebels were there even before the Death Star was made and they got the plans.
Well, I mean, they had finished the Death Star at that point. They were stealing the plans for...
Oh, okay.
In Rogue One, yeah.
No, I meant even before Rogue One, this is taking
yeah.
place. Is what I'm saying. So, like, they gained the public support, but, like, when they're in the academy, before graduation...
Oh, yeah. Right, they start hearing, like, some of the more higher-ups start talking about more rebel activity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to them, it's actually, like, who would be... Either A, who would be foolish enough to oppose the Empire, or who would want to, you know, like, why?
So, odd question. Very odd question. But still, I think, relevant. So this obviously, yes, we know this takes place after 3, before 4, obviously. Before Rogue One, even. Not in the first chapter, but when they went back, not even to them being kids, but even when they're in the academy, before Rogue One. But this is after or around the same time Solo is happening, when they're in the academy. I say that because...
Yeah, like in a general sense, that would be a good way to think about it,
Because we hear talk of the but of early rebel groups, you know, in Solo.
Right.
So I bring that up because it just makes me think of, you know, like, oh, they're talking about them. And again, I know that the thought initially with episode 4 was never to look at it within this context, but now that we have all of this extra canon that's canon, it seems as if 4 was, you know, especially the fact that we have... I love that they even adapted some of 4 into the manga just when they needed to.
Yeah.
That shot of Vader.
Yeah. Yeah, when they're on Leia's ship after they escape from the events of Rogue One.
Oh my god.
With the plans. And I love they even have the movie lines, like...
Well, I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you,
right.
You know? What I would love is if they actually have the Japanese movie lines as well, in the Japanese version. That would actually be super cool.
Right.
Like if the Japanese, you know, translation of this, you know, the original version.
Yeah.
If they actually had the Japanese dubbed lines or subbed lines in there, that would have been funny.
That's another part I really loved.
What?
Speaking of Rogue One, and like when they talk about, you know, Leia's betrayal and stuff like that, And before you see, the shot of Vader on the Tatooine 4 and, the plans going down to the planet, down to Tatooine, there's a shot of the main cast from Rogue One, the main group, but their backs are turned, like, away from the audience. And the whole shot, like, the background is completely black. Because it's, talking about, and Princess Leia Organa allied herself with the rebels that stole the plans for the Death Star from the Empire.
Yes.
And I just love that you don't even see their faces, but it's just because they were the nameless heroes of that operation. Right. No names, but their depiction is there. And I was so happy with that shot.
Yeah, it makes sense also because of when it came out, this manga. In the initial, the novel version of it, I don't know if they were mentioned at all. I don't know how it was referenced, because that was in 2015.
Yeah.
But this one comes out in 2017. Obviously, Force Episode 7 and, of course, Rogue One have already came out.
Right.
So, at that point, it's like, you can just have little nods like that here and there. That'd be nice.
Right. And it's just one panel.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful. That's all that was needed. It's just that little nod that I really appreciate.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's all that's needed. It's just the one little panel. It's like, oh, yeah, of course, because, I've seen Rogue One. And if you haven't, then that's okay, too, right? But, like, you could still you'd be like, who are those guys? Right. And then you'll just be told by nerds like us.
Yeah. Exactly.
If someone sees you, you'll be deactivated for sure. Beep, boop, 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 boop. No, you're the moron.
Right.
Like, it's just... Beep, beep, boop,
that
boop,
wasn't
beep,
in the
boop.
movie, but I still appreciated that one.
It was so good. It was so good. Ah, gets shot.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I made this joke to you. I had to have made this joke to you when we actually talked about Episode 4. But, like, when they get shot off into the escape pod, I know some people, especially someone like Lucas, was probably maybe thinking more of, like, Superman. But my immediate thought is, like, oh no, they're going to shoot Goku in the escape pod. And it's like, oh no, there's no life forms in there. It's fine. By the way, I love that too. Like, you could have been a child in there. They're like, shoot that shit down.
Right.
I don't give a fuck.
And I love how it's those little scenes, like, apparently Sienna is there, standing back, but you, like, in the movie, obviously, you don't see her character, but, like...
Doesn't make sense.
She could have been there. Like...
Yeah, well, because, I mean, that's the thing, like, it's... The reason why I like this, yes, I can understand why maybe someone wouldn't, because in certain cases it just seems like they're witnessing events that they have no control over. But my favorite parts isn't really them witnessing the events, it's their reactions and how these events push them to do the things that they are going to do in life and are doing. Yeah, so for me it's like, because I can understand maybe someone would be like, oh, like, she's standing there watching it. Okay, and it's like, well, because for me it's not that, like, the biggest thing about this. What's bigger to me is them being at the academy, Cien and Thane talking to each other, and even just having Thane with the rebellion, and just waking up from that nightmare after taking a shot of whatever that was. That was clearly alcoholic.
I think they called it engine room juice or engine juice, and it's like, yeah,
cool.
The rebellion gets smashed after a victory because it's like, hey, we narrowly escaped death again. I need. You
don't have that much time to do it.
Yeah.
But
like, I
love
that.
So
like, that feels fitting.
But what I'm getting at, Tristan, is so, like, he wakes up from this nightmare and he's calling for her.
Yeah.
And again, just stuff like that, like seeing them be real people involved in all this, normal everyday people. They're not these, they're not Skywalkers, they're not Organas. Right. There's nothing. Yes, some of them are rich, like the one dude, Nash. He's from a rich family. I mean, not so much anymore since
Since it blew up.
But
Alderaan chunks everywhere.
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe he can sell some of that on the black market.
Why do I feel like I've heard that from somewhere?
Come on, you're telling me that isn't somewhere in some canon?
No,
probably
that's
Clone
what I'm
Wars?
saying. I feel like...
Not Clone Wars.
There was... Like,
Rebels?
No, but I feel like I've seen it somewhere before, like someone was selling a chunk of Alderaan. And it was like,
Probably.
there are just people on the black market who are like, yeah, I'll pay for that. And then if you had anyone from Alderaan, they're just like, what in the fuck?
I'm sorry. You get a discount.
Yeah, basically. And they're like,
half off.
I'm
just for you, my friend. Half off. Come on, it's a part of your history. Why don't you want it? You
immediately
get your throat
shoots
slit.
them. Yeah, gets a blasted bolt between the eyes.
The person has 2 heads? Oh, come on. Why'd you do that to my brother? He was a good guy. Try to sell you some of your history. Come on. For you.
I can't even say that's wrong, because there are definitely species with 2 heads.
My initial thought was Men in Black, but like... Well, because, like, no, it wasn't even 2 heads. It was like a Voldemort thing. Yeah. Like, one head is on the back of the other.
And it's also... like, I mean, I enjoy the self-inserts because they're in spots where, there's a huge battle going on, or it's a scene that's small enough that you can have a character be there, and it doesn't change things automatically. But, like, having Thane...
makes sense.
Having Thane in the Battle of Hoth, like, that's a huge battle that goes on, and there are different stations that are attacked. So, like, yeah, he could have been there, and you didn't see him in the films. Yeah. That makes sense.
No. Yeah, it makes sense. I'm not going to say that it didn't make sense. I just understand if some people are like, well, they're not going to change it.
Yeah.
But I like this better than, let's say, even though I liked Solo more than some people did. We did a podcast on that also on our Those Guys on the Radio channel. While I liked Solo as much as I did, I like something like this better because Thane can die.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even though we know that this is the introduction to everything, and we know that there are going to be 3 volumes, still, in the second volume, something bad can happen, and they could, like, end it, like, what happens next time?
Yeah.
Right? So, or, he gets shot, and then or she gets shot, Sienna, and then they go into, like, another, some more backstory and stuff like that. So, we don't know where this is going to go. For all we know, Lost Stars is kind of like a reference to Romeo and Juliet, and they both die. Well, we don't know.
No, I mean, I get where you're coming from. I just, why Romeo and Juliet?
Why not?
I know, it just,
No, now I'm confused. Tristan, did you have to read Romeo and Juliet too much in high school?
Yes, Shakespeare has better plays, much better plays. Why?
Oh, okay, that's fair. Then it's The Tempest. It's like The Tempest. Is that the one every Shakespeare fans over? Star Wars, Midsummer Night's Stars.
There you go.
There we go. No, but seriously though, anything can happen in this, and I enjoy that. Even though, yes, them being present isn't going to change that future. That'd be funny, Star Wars Xenoverse. But it's not going to change that future.
Yeah.
However, it's still them being a part of history and reacting to it and going along with it. And again, we don't know how long they're going to go. Like, Volume 3 could go up past Episode 7. Right? Because 7 had to come out by 2017.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I guess technically...
Well, no. This came out in 2017.
No. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm just... Technically, they could be. You're right.
No.
They'd be old and gray by then, like Luke and Leia and Han, but...
Yes, but I'm also wrong. While this came out in 2017, the manga, I just mentioned earlier, the book came out in 2015. So they wouldn't go past Episode 7. Yeah. But they could still go past Episode 6.
Right, yeah.
So... we don't know where they're going to go with this, and that's what I enjoy about it currently. Not just that it's not following anyone who's noble or who has a huge part in the story from the books and the the movies and the cartoons and stuff like that. It's just the fact that anything can happen to them, and that's the kind of thrill and rush I need from Star Wars right now.
Right.
There are some, because you see a lot of people online saying certain things about Star Wars, and we've, looked at those arguments, and we've discussed them when we talked about Episode 8, and you and I were like, what are these people even talking about? But I will admit that it is a problem that there are certain main characters that cannot die until the trilogy is done. That nothing bad can happen to them to a certain extent until the trilogy is done. And even then, maybe they all just make it out just fine.
Yeah.
What was that?
No, I mean, as you were saying, it's like, oh, well, they can't die. It's like, it's bad things, like you said, bad things can still happen. I just flashed Empire Strikes Back, Luke screaming as his hand falls down the fucking shaft
that's the thing.
on Bespin.
But that's the thing. I wasn't referring to Luke. I was even referring to the new stuff.
Right.
Like, nothing like that
know.
has even happened to any of them. Like, not even a leg, not a toe, nothing. Think about that. They are all perfectly intact, healthy, good-looking actors.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
I mean,
yeah.
I feel it's more been psychological, but yeah.
But it's also hard to go along with in 2 movies.
Yeah.
Which is, again, why this is something I enjoy.
Right.
Because if this was a movie, it would probably not be good. As this. How could a movie be as good as 3 volumes of a graphic novel?
Yeah.
Like, it would cut out so much,
Yeah.
and it would basically just be the bare bones, and it would be a love story more than anything.
Yeah. Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Because, like, that element doesn't really get put in until almost their, like, last days at the academy.
Yeah, from the looks of it.
Yeah.
But it's still a good one.
Right,
because,
right, exactly.
Yeah, it's one. If Tristan likes it, it's done very well. No, because this being Star Wars,
I get you.
This being Star Wars isn't enough for you to like it. If it was just lovey-dovey teen pop drama, with a Star Wars filter, you'd be like, I think they're trying to.
I would basically be Vader in that hallway scene at the end of Rogue One.
Tristan, the odds are you won't like this. Never tell me the odds.
But I do love the aspect of, like, at the very first chapter, like, before the flashbacks, like, when Thane's co-pilot,
Wedge.
Yendor. There we go.
I'm always going to say Wedge.
My God. Wedge wasn't a co-pilot on Hoth, but I'm not gonna.
Everyone has Wedge in their heart, Tristan.
Look, so do I. I'm just saying he was a main pilot, not a gunner. That's all.
He's gunning for my heart.
You're damn right he is, and until I get my Wedge Antilles movie, I'm not going to be pleased.
Wedge Antilles movie, co-starring Yoda. Fuck is this?
Alright, listen here. My point was, I love that they do kind of introduce, the idea that, like, Thane's like, yeah, I'm going to rescue her one day. In the sense that she's still in the Empire, and he's realized at this point, the Empire is no bueno.
But how funny is it that she's changed so much? And we're going to have to see where that goes. But she's changed so much. She's like, I'm going to kill him next chance I get.
Right. I love the foil of their, their 2 scenes. He's determined. He's, calm. He's like, oh, you're definitely going to help her out because she's my, longest childhood friend. And I may, in fact, love her. Like, I have to get her out of the Empire before it destroys her. And then just the steel in her eyes of the next time I meet you, I'm going to fucking kill you. I love that. I love that so much. Because she's not painted as like, oh, like, she doesn't want to be rescued. She's like, no, I'm in the Empire.
Well,
like, I know what I'm doing. This is where I need to be.
Yeah, that's kind of what I enjoy about this too. Like, and also learning more about him, because when we don't know much about him, it sounds like he's kind of a creeper in saying that, but then when we know him, we're like, no, like, they actually care about each other a lot.
Right. Once you see their flashback.
Yes. Like I said, you get to know more about him and her. You realize that they're both not bad people. Right. She might be now.
Yeah.
But they're both not bad people. But it's interesting that, again, like, she's not, like, in some dungeon, like, oh, no, I need to be saved. Like, no, like, he's coming at it more from, like, I have to save you from yourself. We've known each other for so long. We're such good friends. You're going down a dark path.
Right.
It's very much like the light and the dark of the Force. And, of course, the Force is mentioned because that's always going to be mentioned by the people who are just kind of walking around before the Empire stomps that out.
Yeah, because her father talks about it.
Yeah, and of course he does,
Of course
because he's definitely a person of the land.
Right.
So he being a person of the land is definitely more in tune with the Force. God knows what's going to happen to her parents. That might actually change her mind on the Empire.
Yeah, because I wonder, like, if they're already dead by the time, we get to the current of where their characters are, or whether they might be in prison somewhere.
We don't know. All we know so far is...
Which is incredibly likely, because the Empire liked to do that with Outer Rim worlds. Like, factory.
Yes. So either they're... what we do know, rather, is she is clearly with the Empire in some way. Yeah. Like, with as in their ideals. Like, she clearly isn't about leaving the Empire.
Yeah, it's the idea that the Empire brings order to, like, from what they've experienced, like, a lawless galaxy, or where things are not exactly fair. Like, with the Empire, there's only one way. And
yes, but after destroying Alderaan,
right.
a planet that her friend is from,
yeah.
who he was, like, again, she either, like, we don't know what happened to her in between, so something else must have happened. I think we're going to learn that in Volume 2, just from looking at the artwork of Volume 2. I think that's what we're going to... But again, it hasn't come out yet, so I don't actually know the story. But...
yeah. Because that was the point I wanted to bring up earlier. When the Empire... In Legends, and even now in canon as well, there are characters who were part of the Empire, but once the Empire destroyed Alderaan, especially people in the Empire from Alderaan were like, what in the fuck? Like, we were subservient. We were in the set. Like, they had... Leia was part of the Senate. Like, she defected, but, like, not everybody from Alderaan was like, let's join the rebels, even though they kind of were behind the scenes.
But still, it doesn't change the fact that there are just normal... Like, that kid wasn't like, yay, Rebel Alliance.
Right. They were citizens, and they were happy to do their job, and then their planet is blown up, and half of them are like... It's basically like a split down the middle. There are ones like Thane, even though he's not from Alderaan, but there were people from Alderaan. Tycho Selchu, may have said that wrong, but he was a pilot for the Empire. He was in Legends. I don't know if he's been introduced in canon, in new canon now, but he was a pilot from Alderaan, saw the events that happened, and he's like, fuck this, I'm out. Like, you destroyed my home planet. What in the fuck?
I'm making a prediction. So Nash was Thane's friend, right? Who, I just want to clarify, who, I really want to make sure, who was from Alderaan.
Yes.
So in the beginning of the story, Thane is talking to Yonder. Is that the woman that he was working with?
You mean like in the first chapter on Hoth?
Yeah.
Yeah, Yendor.
Yonder? Okay, Yendor. Sorry, Yendor. So when he talks to Yendor, he seems obviously very sad. So he says, the Battle of Hoth, we lost a lot of our rebel troops, right? And she's like, well, yeah. And he says, my friend was among them.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that friend
could
is
have been
Nash.
Possibly.
Because obviously, like you just mentioned, with what happened, I don't think Nash would like... Because Nash is like... Because even putting aside his love and trying to kind of throw away, like, what Leia did with, like, oh, well, maybe if she just says, I'm sorry, everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Even putting that aside, right? Clearly, he has some pride, a fair amount of pride for Alderaan.
Right.
More so than I think he would for the Empire.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if Thane is like, I want to get out of here, and Nash is like, stop talking about that. You remember what I told you?
Right.
And Thane's like, what? So you don't want to leave now? He's like, I do, and I know a couple people.
Right. He's like,
so,
because back at the academy, after that whole fiasco with
getting expelled.
Yeah, almost getting expelled. He's like, stop talking about, like, people not fitting into the Empire. Like, that you get bad things happen to you when you talk like that, especially on Coruscant.
Yeah.
He's like, Thane.
Oh, wait, they were on Coruscant?
Oh, yeah. No, they were at the Royal Military Academy. Like, yeah, if you said something against the Empire, especially on a core world, you're lucky you lived to see the next day.
Yeah.
So, like, Nash is like, look, I don't necessarily agree with everything either, but stop saying that shit out loud, you're gonna get us killed.
Yeah. I'm thinking that Volume 2 is going to have Tarkin versus Thane, complete ninjutsu battle.
Oh.
That's what I'm thinking.
Dude. Like, it's funny. There was a new comic that just came out based on Tarkin, Age of Rebellion, if anyone's been picking them up. They're really cool.
Okay.
They're just like side stories, but there's one based on Tarkin, and it's literally they're training people to fire the Death Star laser. And like the first run, they don't do it perfectly, and he's like going through his head what he's going to berate these people with, because he's like, you have one job, pull a lever. You can't do that right, I'm going to eject you out into space. But he even looks at this one guy and he's like, he says, oh, how many scars do you have on you? And he's like, well, none, sir. And then he takes his helmet and beats him across the face with it.
Oh,
and
God.
he's like, what the fuck, God. Sir? He's like, good. Now, now you can say you've been roughed up a bit, and like Tarkin's going through this whole thing where he like takes off his shirt and he's like ripped, but he's like scarred up as fuck, and he just beats the crap out of this guy, and then it goes back to another panel, and it's before this whole thing, it never actually took place. It was all in Tarkin's head. He's like, this is what I wanted to do to you, but maybe not this time.
I just imagine when you described Tarkin that way, I just thought of him buffing up like Master Roshi.
Kind of.
Oh Jesus,
yeah.
That was in his head. That's funny. I'm wondering if Nash is going to be the one that works with Thane, because not that I think that they were the best of friends, but I think that with the drunken revelation, I don't know. Like I feel as if not that he and Thane are the best buds, but definitely that Nash would not be happy.
Yeah, he's like, I see you were right. Can't let me go with you.
Yeah. Also, it just shows you, the Empire's their true thought process behind everything. Still, as they're because as they're building everything up, again, it's like, oh, let's talk to the children, let's make everything seem nice, yada yada yada. But then all of a sudden, once they're in the academy and they have them all there, it's like, oh, they're from the same home world and they're both doing well.
Right.
Let's try to sabotage at least one of them. Not kill them.
Right.
We're not going to kill them. But we're going to sabotage
scummy kid, Ved, the son of another captain or officer. That's what it was. He's like, you two are idiots. Fighting. You're playing right into their hands. Of course, they want you to fight each other because.
No, that was Nash.
No, that wasn't Nash. That's another character. His name's Ved.
Ved.
Yeah. He was another one in their class, but
he looks like Nash.
Yeah, there's like he looks like Nash with a little bit shorter hair, but he sneers a lot more. He's much more of a dick.
Yeah. I don't remember Ved.
He's only there at the ball scene, which is hilarious because he gets paired up with Jude, one of Sienna's friends at the dance, and I love she's a very tall lady.
My brain is screwed.
So
Nash wasn't there.
Yeah, no, Nash didn't have the grades to get to go to the ball.
My brain is off. Yes, right, because he says let's brag to Nash.
Yeah,
because it's Ved basically bragging to Nash, let's brag to Nash that we got to see Leia and he didn't. Yeah. Even though he loves her because that is his yes. No, because I could swear to God I haven't seen Ved before that ball. Which is why my brain autocorrected him to Nash.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm pretty sure that's the only part that you actually see Ved.
Yeah. But other than that one little thing, the art style, I really do like it. You can tell someone is different from another one. It's not like everyone just blends in together.
Yeah.
Like, every new character does look different.
Yeah.
Again, the only two that we've said so far is Ved and then now Thane's brother, who literally, when you see his face grown up, I'm like, you're the same person.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't... Because Tarkin, you can tell differences in Tarkin when it's, quote-unquote, young Tarkin.
Yeah.
And, older, quote-unquote, older Tarkin.
Right. And I love that you really see their viewpoints clash in the academy when they're pitted against each other, basically, Thane and Sienna. Because Sienna has this sort of blind loyalty, in a sense,
Yeah.
And Thane has the idea, like, well, maybe the Empire can do wrong. Like, it's still only people running the place.
Yeah.
But it's the idea that the Empire means so much to... Even both of them at that point, still, it means so much to them, and they've come so far and done so much to get here. To sway in that belief would destroy them at that point, in a way. Because the Academy is incredibly tough. Like, they even make...
I mean, it's like boot camp
they
on
make the
steroids.
point of, training them half to death every day.
Yeah.
From the day they get there, so...
Yeah, I mean, you do that... I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but again, they're doing that because they're really trying to break you down. Again, it's like I said just before, boot camp, but on steroids.
Right.
Like, it's trying to make you even worse.
Right.
So loyal. Like, oh, these are your brothers, these are... But it's still very... Well, no, not even. That's what's different, I think, between that and boot camp. In boot camp, they're trying to make it seem like these people are your brothers and your sisters.
No,
but in this case, they're not doing that at all.
That you're a unit and you're together at all times. Look out for one another. The Empire is more trying to... You are
look out for
unit,
us.
But you're still striving to be better than everyone else around you.
Right, exactly. Which is why they were trying to put a wedge,
right?
But not the wedge we love, but a wedge between Thane and Sienna, because again, because their idea is if they care for each other and they have respect for their homeworld even more so than they do the Empire,
they can't have that. Yeah.
Because then if something happened, like, oh, whoopsie daisy, we destroyed it.
Right, we destroyed your planet. Then they're more likely to be like, well, I'm going to avenge my planet. Oh, no!
But I feel like anyone would do that. That's what's weird. Well, unless you really hated your planet.
That's the thing. Yeah, like, if your planet, if where you grew up on your planet was that bad, yeah. Because there's another character from the Aftermath series. She grew up in a, terrible place in her planet, and her planet was, just filled with outlaws and... people who die in the streets every other day.
That I get, but not every planet is.
No, not
like
every
that.
planet.
You
is
can
like
still have
that,
family
obviously.
there.
Yeah. But
I don't know. I maybe I'm just trying to be a badass, but I just feel like I would have Thane's mentality of like,
oh yeah,
whoa,
yeah,
whoa.
No, I definitely would.
I feel like we went too far here.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were actually being jerks necessarily.
Right.
Because they're also isolated from everything.
Yeah.
Being at the academy.
Right.
So they're just like, whoa, buddy.
Exactly.
I thought I was gonna fly some ships.
Right.
Now that's a destroyed planet. What's going on here?
And then But Sienna's
yeah.
mentality is the idea that the Empire can't do wrong, and the actions that we take obviously must be justified. Because why would they do that otherwise?
I mean, we're going to have to see what happens in between. As we're wrapping this up, we're really going to have to see what happens in between the end of this volume and the next one.
Yeah.
With the next one, to really see what's going on between these gaps with her.
Right.
Because I'm not saying that that's not the case, but I'm wondering if it turns into a rivalry more so with him than it is of an appreciation of the Empire.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea. Because that's what she's like what you just said throughout this book. But I don't know if that would actually pit her to want to kill him.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a bigger wrinkle.
Face, I don't know if she could.
I feel like there's a bigger wrinkle.
Right.
Something happened. And I want to see what that is.
Yeah.
Because she clearly has a crack in her love of the Empire. So I want to see what fortifies and solidifies her love of it.
Right. And there must have been one, how he tried to leave, too, probably influenced it as well.
Yeah, or what they even told her. So, again, we're going to have to, cut this short, sadly, but...
yeah, because I could go on about this forever, so...
Yeah. No, I know. But I can't wait to get this one. We got this a few months back, but... Well, you got it even farther back than I did. However, funnily enough, the newest volume is actually coming up just this month in August. I don't know exactly when. This isn't like an advertiser or anything like that. There's no even affiliate links or anything. If there is, then this is a future thing.
That happened. It's good.
It's not actually in this video.
If you want to go pick it up.
No, if you actually like this and you want to go pick it up, you can, but, it's not, this isn't an ad or anything.
No,
because, again, as of this recording, we have no affiliate links, is what I'm saying.
Right,
But either way, though, yeah, I hope you did like it if you did read it, and if you didn't, and you know that there were spoilers, so you are spoiled, tell us if you're going to read it in the future. Tell us what you thought about it if you did read it, and about Star Wars in general. Keep it kind and respectful and calm in the comment section down below. Thank you all for tuning in to another Book of the Month. Remember, you can actually get audio versions of Book of the Month over at our Patreon, patreon.com/GGProductions. Thank you all so much. Love you all, and tune in next month for another episode of Book of the Month. All right, guys, so see ya.
And may the Force be with you.